There was a website I found that talked about global trials, and from the global trial website, I do forget, but it was a government-based website, that's where I discovered Great Ormond Street were doing something, and that was our inroad to then Rod made contact and arranged us to have our first meeting. It was a conversation that was very honest, and it also explained though how new things were, and in the light of things being new, there were no guarantees for sure. Yeah.
It was quite a serious meeting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually, yes. And you meet with a board of specialists hearing things that you don't want to hear, but then that was probably a reality check, because you grab onto these things, don't you, really, in a hope of thinking, well, this will be the answer.
I don't really think about it. I just go to school and just think about all the bad lessons I've got. That's the only thing I think about. Thinking about my awful science lesson tomorrow. I've got last lesson.
How did you feel as a family and about having the whole process, the whole CAR-T journey? Because you had it twice. You had
exactly.
2 lots of CAR-T.
Gosh, well, you have the two emotions, don't you? Because the first one was a failure after all of that going down and after all of that. So, yeah, first one was tricky, wasn't it, coming back when it hadn't panned out?
Yeah, that was really a devastating blow, that. Just another devastating blow.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I know that things came back for you and we went and had different treatments and you had to go away. So how did that feel?
It was really irritating because I just felt like, I knew the doctors were working really hard. I just felt like they kept just putting random things into me and it kept affecting me more and more, and it wasn't really working as much. In the end it did work, but I don't know. I don't get how I got another relapse and it came back again. I thought after all that, like, surely it would have gone, but no. It's still in my blood.
Yeah, but we knew that second CAR T-cell one was much superior though, so we had a lot more positivity with that one.
I think for me it was because it was Great Ormond Street had attempted to create a product that was significantly different from what the States were doing. I think that's why they used part of a rat for that one, for the first trial that Austin has. So Austin's DNA is part rat, part immune, part of HIV. I'm pretty confident in saying that it wasn't wildly successful, if at all. So when the opportunity came up for something new, but you then find sort of the same thinking of the successes that we're having, really making global changes in the States, for me that made a massive difference where I didn't hold on to anything old. So thankfully for us, through the Anthony Nolan register, our dream person is a fictitious figure that we nicknamed Deutschmark. All we know is that our German donor who saved Austin's life thankfully offered to do the blood donation again to get the cells, to engineer the first T cells.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
Was there anything that made you feel anxious about having this treatment?
I remember feeling really anxious, that it was fear of the unknown. And after Austin had relapsed so many times before, just fraught with worry with it. But then I remember Scott saying, look, stop it, this is actually the best thing we've ever been offered. There's more chance of survival from this than absolutely anything he's had. And I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, this is an amazing opportunity.
You start looking at 30 years ago and then you sit and think, well, making a 30-year revolutionary jump, for me, psychologically, a major step for when I decided that was the right thing. I think that where we wanted to take it.
And it was kind of quite exciting.
The issue that Oz had a 1 in a million bit of bad luck where none of the other treatments worked, so for me it was evening it back again.
The research nurses at Great Ormond Street, it was all new to them and they'd only just had training for it, really.
Everything was so new, but everyone was honest about that. There was a positive enthusiasm, but there was no claims of people really knowing.
And they also made you feel really special because we were one of the first going through it as well, and to this day we're such good friends with them. They all love us going down. Austin loves being there.
I like it though, because you miss school and you just sit there and play your iPad, and I've got friends there as well, so it's good fun. And I know all the adults there and stuff as well, so I can talk to them.
It's
Parents have to negate, and they have to work within their family for what works with them is how you keep paying the bills.
because it is a massive hit financially.
Support from grandparents, some close friends who really stepped up when you need it. Grandparents and Paul's house.
Is Paul's house a charity? So you don't
Yes.
Click to Sergeant.
It's linked to Click
It's
Sergeant
linked.
Paul O'Gorman, yes. For us, that was. There's just no other way it could have been afforded. Couldn't have been done without it.
Yeah.
My parents offered their home. We weighed up our house, we had a look into this, we saw what we could do.
And then all the families in that Paul's house are all going through a similar thing. So you get to have quite a good relationship with people in the house as well. And everyone's there pretty long term.
I think as a family you're pretty amazing because you have to be resilient to go through all of the things that you've been through, and that's a hard journey, and you were out the front trying these new things. How does that feel?
Being the pioneers of this amazing new treatment is quite a privilege, really, though. I'm quite humbled by it all. So I think I feel more like that, more positive than, oh God, it could have been awful. I think all the way through we've been just had good mental strength with it all. I remember you once asking me who do you like being around when I was going through that, and I never liked being around people who were too morose or showed any kind of upset, and I think I did put up these barriers. I could only handle anyone that came in and that was happy and positive with me and with Austin. But if anyone said, "Oh, how are you?" I couldn't take it.
It's true, because people want to acknowledge sympathy, but then in acknowledging sympathy it probably amplifies something. You're sick to the back teeth of. So having someone be quite blasé or neutral about it, actually it's good for the psychology of the patient, which is our number one, but it's also good to have a change and to shake your own head out of it.
And I remember in Great Ormond Street they had this radio on, and then for the whole people who were in there, like they came into your room and they were like, "What song would you like on?" And on this special station on the radio they played it for you, and everyone like heard your favourite songs. And it gave you a shout out of what your name was. This is your song and something, and then it plays it. It was really good.
So say you're in close proximity, you know the score. We're in tiny little shoebox rooms, which are, don't get me wrong, they're wonderful for the kids on the ward, they're a lovely room, but you know, when you've got all the family or people wanting to visit and everyone's in and everyone's wanting to do something, it can be quite intense for the wrong reasons.
I love just going out. It's just so good. You finally got like fresh air to play instead of being isolated in a room.
Because it was really important that Austin always stayed positive and never had any idea of the implications of what was going on.
So who did help you the most?
Don't know. Well, probably my mum, because she kept me happy, and we always did things.
Yeah, we always had that strong feeling of positive mindset in the room and everyone to be that.
And he was
everyone's
young
involved
enough
in
not
it.
to ask anyway,
That's true.
really. I mean, we told him bits, we drip fed him little bits, but he never really knew the severity of anything, and that is, I think, been the best way to play it.
For what his age was,
Yeah.
it was enough.
A bit. When we talk about medicines and stuff, it rushes back into my memory. I do feel sad, but you know, now I don't feel like it's like I'm really unlucky. I'm not like really unlucky, because I've known quite a couple of other people who have it, but I still also think that there isn't many young people who have it.
I think the biggest thing was the cytokine release syndrome, wasn't it?
Yes.
That they
I'm
didn't
pretty
know
sure that
at
was the big
all
one.
if Austin was going to get that, but we knew that we also wanted it, so it was quite a paradox. Waiting for this, we waited about 10 days, and I started feeling really upset that we weren't going to get it because he had to have it. But then he got it on his birthday
or the day before or something, but certainly on his birthday,
Yeah.
he was lying in the bed, wasn't he, with all the treatment on his head, because of the readings in his brain were so off the charts that they had to bring a specialist team up to do so. And that was certainly where he couldn't sit up.
And then
He would vomit every time he
sick.
sat up.
Yeah.
And everything he saw was at a slanted angle. But that again, as it transpires, which we hoped, that was the T cells doing what they needed them to do. It was very clear that it was a trial.
So 2 days ago, we only just found out off Great Ormond Street that he still has
He's got
circulating
T cells,
cells.
And he's got no B cells, still 3 years on.
3 years on.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So for him to maintain them that long is it's good. How good's that peace of mind? What happens in the future, whether you need to keep having IVIG and getting immunoglobulin boost, or what does the future hold for that? And that'll be interesting as well, seeing what happens there.
The Department of Health have now got a CAR T cell, that's our treatment.
So,
is there anything you think that would be valuable?
I think the follow-up treatment should possibly be a little bit more in the limelight, because I know that only from a leukemia relapse forum that there can be problems with the heart now. I just wish we'd have had a little bit of time on our side, that we didn't have to have some of that really intrusive chemo like R3. R3 is horrendous.
At least if with leukemia it does become complex and it goes into the CNS and it's in the brain, Austin's living proof that it works fabulously well at getting into the brain, because that was our number one issue, as it turned out for us.
One thing I've learned is that every family is going through something a little bit different. Even though the disease may be the same, you can never really compare. And at the beginning, I think parents always want to talk about it, but after 7 years in the game, you kind of, I don't really go there anymore. I don't talk to people much about the ins and outs of the treatment, because it's just so different, and the drugs might be different because there's a few different protocols, and the way that their child is affected by it will be different to my child. So whilst it's nice to talk to other families about it, you don't really want people to go into too much detail about bad things that are happening.
It's an emotion which is maybe unusual that people don't necessarily think about, but that is an honest one at the time. It's nothing I'm particularly proud of, but it is an honest one, that if you go through year after year after year, or relapse after relapse, or failed treatment plan after entire 3-year plan, that when you go through many cycles it can get to you. The time as well, I get that it's very busy, but I'm very appreciative of people who find the time, even if that's 2 minutes. I also appreciate people who would kind of tell you straight how something is. I think there's so lot to be said, but I also get that in medical terms you've got to gauge the person. I guess I like that, and I get that some people don't want that. So, and I'm sure that's a very important skill that as staff you guys are more attuned to. Support's been amazing, honestly.
I like really
some of the best
amazing
people I've met in my life.
Yeah.
Doing some of the most amazing things, and sometimes some of those people who do those jobs, you have a huge respect, because a bad day for them is a really, really bad day. And sometimes they have to get up, brush off, and go back in and do it again. And that was quite humbling for me, to put my head and my heart into that way of living, because unless you have to do that, you don't really appreciate it. You go, look, there is a chance or there is no chance. Do you fight for a chance or do you not? And as much as you want to boil it down, you either take the chance. Well, I know you still need to know the risks and you weigh it up, but it nearly becomes that brutal a question, isn't it? And that's the tricky thing. It's you have the treatment and there is the risk of all of these things, or you don't have the treatment but you know what's coming. And each to their own families as to when they think the right call is to make that decision, but it nearly does just boil down to that.
Scott is so strong mentally as well, that I guess if I did ever see him get upset, then I guess I would step up to that, but it would really, really upset me because he never got upset. But generally, we had a few big cries, but that's it. We just powered through. Honestly, I did anyway.
You know what?
I was just like really going to do this.
It's kind of been under lock and key to some extent, but I will say this without doubt: it's the hardest thing I've done in my life. And at the toughest times when it was tough, and I'm sure Lou might be saying, it was so tough that you wondered whether we should be going on and what is the right thing to do, and trying to wrestle with that at night about how to discuss that, how to pitch it, how to lie in bed thinking about how am I going to discuss that with Lou and how we're going to deal with ours as well. To have that mental resilience to carry on again was the hardest thing I've done in my life. I still think of those nights. That was tough. But we did it, and I got through it. But you're right, for the sense of wanting to keep the unit together. Do you feel a pressure for that? Yes, you do. Did I therefore bottle something up to a degree? Yeah, I bottled some things up to a degree as well. Why? Because I thought it was the best thing for my family. Was it the best thing for me as a person? I don't know. But your family comes first, and if your family's good, you do okay.
I would have been more inclined to talk to people I found, like friends. I wouldn't talk to family because I didn't want to upset them, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard. You don't know who to talk to. Your friends, they want to know, but you don't want to keep going on about negative things. When you see them, you want it to be having a good time and escapism. And then parents always get too upset anyway. So he must have missed most of his birthdays. He's actually been in hospital or been really sick on his birthday. So we have had some really special birthdays. We've really gone to town and showered him with lots of friends and special events.
You said something about Lottie, because you didn't think she'd thought about it and what had happened, but she had. She'd said something to you about Austin's treatment. It's quite interesting to see how that was for her.
Yeah, I mean, it affected Lottie more than you'd imagine at the time, but I don't know how much of it we're seeing repercussions now from it. I think she's quite jealous of Austin because he gets all the special treatment. And she often says, "Why don't I get special treatment?" She's also said, "Why can't I have cancer?" She's also worn Hickman lines round her neck. We had to enlist lots of relatives, and it was a difficult time because Lottie had only just, she was only, 4. She'd only just started school, and we had to leave her up here. On her first day of school, we left her. And that was really hard as well. He often comes to me at night and says he doesn't want to be left behind, and he thinks all his friends are more clever, and will he ever get a job? And he worries about these things all the time.
He does a lot.
He talks to me about this probably once a week.
My learning, so after school, I could probably go and do what I want, but I chose to go and do extra work because I know, if I want to have a good job when I'm older, which is the majority of my lifetime, I may as well get money and work. So then, when I retire, I can have money to do what I want and stuff.
That's a big thing to think about already.
Because I missed so much school. The main part in handwriting in year 2, I missed that bit, so...
Yeah, that's not good, is it, for you?
No.
The challenges are always going to be there, aren't they? And this idea about how he does battle school, how we have to let go of SATs. SATs are not going to happen for us. It needs much too much school. We'll get there. Maybe we don't need to worry about it. What was the one thing that Austin did over years and years and years of hospital? He got the name King Lego, and he did everything in Lego. We have Lego everywhere. Now Lego is thick of dust. How amazing is that? It's thick of dust. Well, not good enough. But what are we doing now? Summer night, whizzing down the street and whizzing down to the skate park, and he's scootering, and it's years in a bed. Years in a bed. I remember having to be cruel to be kind of getting him just to try and learn to walk again. And all the wastage of muscles in his leg, and now it's all quarter pipes and jumps and activity and movement and fast and exercise.
I just love every day. I love every day with Austin.
Yeah, we have to take that.
What are the good things you like doing now then?
Scootering and play Pokemon Go. That's my favourite things to do. Paprika Pringles, they're so good. And I just ate like a whole tube when I got home. I wasn't allowed anything because I was neutropenic of no immune system, so that was a big letdown because I like my food a lot and I love sushi.
Well, we're under no illusion that you never really do fully now. We have a lot of legacy, a lot of old things, a lot of heavy treatments. Hopefully the next generation of kids don't need to go heavy before they get the thing that worked for us. It takes its toll after knockback and knockback and knockback, and there is a huge file. As you know, Austin's medical file has to be maybe this high. There's 2 of them. I mean, that's sadly a tale of things that didn't quite work out. until we hit T cells. It's a good way to end it on that, isn't it?